Shalom London! I am deeply humbled to invite Ayelet Vatitski, who extended her visit to join us today. Ayelet is the sister of Nadav Popplewell, who was murdered in captivity by Hamas. Her brother Roy was killed on October 7th, and her mother was taken hostage and later released. Please give her a round of applause as she comes up to speak to us.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ayelet Vatitski. I'm a British Israeli citizen. On October 7, 2023, my brother, Roy Popplewell, a British citizen, was murdered near his home on Kibbutz Nirim. My other brother, Nadav Popplewell, also a British citizen, was taken hostage. He was murdered by Hamas terrorists in February of 2024, and his body was recovered by the IDF on August of 2024. I buried my brother Nadav alongside Roy. That is not a sentence anyone should ever have to say. My mother, Hannah Perry, was taken hostage by Hamas. She was 79 at the time. She was returned alive in November of 23 during the first ceasefire. She is doing about as well as can be expected for an older person who has seen two of her children murdered and who herself was held hostage. She chose life and she lives. I am neither a politician nor a military strategist. I write novels, and so my take on things is entirely personal. For me, all I can do is to continue to campaign for the release of the 50 hostages still being held, both those hostages who are alive and those who have been killed. People like Avinatan Or, whose mother Ditsa is British, and who tomorrow will be missing his little sister's wedding, whose girlfriend, Noah Argamani, campaigns around the world to be reunited with him, and Yossi Sharabi, who was killed in January 2024. His extended family is British. Many of you will have heard his brother Eli Sharabi speaking in London and Manchester. This week I joined a meeting with the UK government to continue to press our case that the hostages must be freed before the UK government can recognize the state of Palestine. As I said to the government, to recognize the state without the return of all the hostages is a price to Hamas for the murder of my two brothers. And that is why I am here today, to remind you all that among the victims of the day of October 7th, there were 17 British people murdered and 10 hostages who were taken, who were themselves either British, like my brother Nadav and Emily Damari, or had very close UK connections, a parent, a spouse, or a child. As I say, I am neither a politician nor am I an army general. I am a human being who can see when there is something horribly wrong in the world. The holding of hostages is a war crime, and to hold them and starve them and torture them is horrific. All the hostages must be returned to their homes to be reunited with their families or to be properly buried. I cannot bring Roy or Nadav back to life. But my promise to them and to everyone who has joined us here today is that I will not stop until every one of the hostages is home. And what I ask of you today is that you do not stop either. Keep campaigning. Keep demanding that the British government do more. And please, please keep believing that we will bring them home. Bring them home.
One of the songs that kind of had a comeback in Israel. It's called Habaita. It means coming home, go home. And I would like to teach you just this word, Habaita, like bite. And there was a very powerful video clip of a lot of families of the hostages who sang and played in Caesarea and Caesarea. And I would like to sing it to you, and I would like you to join the chorus. The chorus goes, Habaita, Habaita. So that's the only line I want you to join me. Oh, my wife helped me to translate it. Let's sing you some of it in English. About the year had passed, the turmoil, crazy year. Weeds have climbed the past, and in a garden appeared. The wind has cried and blown, shattered open wide, and the heat, the warmth, as they cry, it has yelled, Habaita, בעת לחזור מן הערים משדות צרים, היום דועך ואין סימן. Let's see you. טרם רדת אור, לילות קרים, לילות מרים, קרבים עכשיו לך, עד עלות השחר, מתפללת לשלומך, שבויה באזיקי פחדים, אני שומעת צעדים. הביתה, הביתה, כי עוד לא ניתן כל מה שהובטח לנו מזמן. עד עלות השחר מתפללת לשלומך, שבויה באזיקי פחדים, אני שומעת צעדים. Let's hear you. כי עוד לא ניתן כל מה שהובטח לנו מזמן.
I'm honoured to welcome Michael Uyghur, Chief Executive of the Board of Deputies. Friends, thank you for coming out here to support the 50 hostages held captive in Gaza since 7th of October. Again, I want to thank CST and the police for keeping us safe today, a privilege we must never take for granted. Yesterday, the police were forced to arrest nearly 500 people for supporting Palestine Action, whose criminal actions against Jewish charities, businesses and even RAF base terrorised British Jews and others and rightly led to their ban. I say to the police, you won't have that trouble from us today. We are a law-abiding community whose urgent cry for peace internationally and the release of our hostages from Gaza comes alongside a love for this country and profound respect and adoration for our emergency services. You are the best among us and we thank what you do. If we look at our lives since that awful and murderous day, much has happened. Some of us have moved houses, some have changed jobs, our children have grown, maybe grandchildren have been born. For the hostages and their families, time has stood still. It's worse than standing still, because our people are suffering abuse and starvation on a daily basis. And that's those who are still alive. We fear that many of those who remain in Gaza have been murdered in captivity and their bodies kept from their families. Now the government here has announced it will recognise Palestinian statehood in September. And they have imposed conditions on one side alone, and not on the side that initiated this awful conflict. We've noticed there are no conditions placed on Hamas. They do not need to stand down. There is no need for Hamas to agree a ceasefire, no need to release a single hostage. In fact, if Hamas resists calls for a ceasefire deal, prolonging the suffering of Israelis and Palestinians alike, they guarantee their recognition by the UK government. How can this further peace? The incentives are all wrong. Hamas source said last weekend the government statement on Palestine recognition was the fruits of October. Unwittingly, it seems, our own government has emboldened the very organisation our country rightly prescribes as terrorists. We say to the Prime Minister, don't abandon the hostages. We hear the cries of the Israeli public and hostage families when they say the top priority for Israel's government must be to get the hostages home, and we stand in solidarity with them. לכל הישראלים שנמצאים איתנו היום, אוהבים אותנו מישראל, אנחנו בלונדון אוהבים אתכם ועומדים איתכם לאורך כל הדרך הקשה. Despair cannot be a strategy. In the words of the prophet Jeremiah, ויש תקווה לאחריתך נאום אדוני ושבו בנים לגבולם. And there is hope for your future, declares God. Your children shall return to their country. It's all so complicated and yet so simple. Let's drive towards the outcome we all want. The hostages out, Hamas defeated, desperately need aid into Gaza without Hamas stealing it, and substantive moves towards lasting peace and security for Israelis, Palestinians and the wider Middle East. And let me promise you, we the Board of Deputies will not stop campaigning until every last hostage is out. Whether it's our weekly vigils right here outside Downing Street and outside the Scottish Parliament in Edinburgh, whether it's the Adopt a Hostage campaign that so many of your synagogues have taken up, mass rallies like this one, and the national commemoration we are now organising with our partners for the 2nd anniversary on the 7th of October. Please God, they'll all be out by then. Whether it's meetings at every level of government, here or abroad, we are with the hostage families until the very last one is home. Bring them home now.
I'm extremely honoured to introduce a friend of the community. We all know him, Adam Ma'anit, to speak. Adam is the cousin of Taki Idan, who was killed in captivity by Hamas. Please, Adam, to the stage.
Shabbat Tov, everyone. Friends, brothers and sisters, I stand before you a broken man. My cousin Taki Idan was taken hostage to Gaza after terrorists murdered his firstborn daughter, Mayan, in their home on October 7th. She had just turned 18. The balloons from her party were still up in the house. They forced Gali, Tachi's wife, to unlock her phone so they could live stream the horror, proud of their brutality. It lasted for hours. Clips of Shachar and Yaeli, the children, sobbing and pleading. They were among the first images the world saw. A lot of people know my family from those images, from those videos of the children sobbing uncontrollably because they had just seen their older sister murdered in front of them. They frog marched Tachi to Gaza with the blood of his firstborn still all over him. That was the last time we had seen him in person, alive. We fought tooth and nail to bring him home alive. We saw him paraded in Hamas propaganda videos, horrifying, yet proof that he still breathed. It gave us hope, and we continued to fight. We screamed at the sky, but our worst fears came true. Tzachi returned to us in a coffin in February. We buried Tzachi next to our beloved Mayan. You don't move on from that kind of loss. It is etched into your bones. It sears every waking moment. We breathe in grief. We exhale anguish. But we don't have the luxury of self-pity. We pick ourselves up and we fight for the 50 hostages still left in Gaza. One of those hostages is Omri Miran, our neighbor from Nachal Oz. Omri's a husband, a son, a friend. He's gentle, he's loving, he's kind. He's not a bargaining chip. He's a human being, and he must come home to his daughters, Roni and Alma, who miss him deeply, and Yishai and his father, Danny and his brothers. But the world wants to forget the hostages. They've slipped from the headlines. The silence, deafening. They are not just hostage to the terrorist ghouls of Hamas and Islamic Jihad. They're also hostage to the world's indifference. Every moment they remain in chains is a choice by cowardly leaders to look away. We will not look away. We will not be silent. We will not be still. Silence is a sentence. The fastest way to end this nightmare is to free the hostages. I call on the UK government to exert every means at its disposal, to exert pressure on Hamas's and Islamic Jihad state benefactors, countries like Qatar and Turkey. I call on them I remind them what moral clarity looks like. There must be no reward for terror. There must be no recognition without release. We couldn't save Tzachi, but Omri still has a chance. For those still alive, every moment counts. We've still seen the haunting images of Eviatar David, emaciated, forced to dig his own grave. A week has gone by and not a single UK newspaper has put that image on its front pages. How many people in the UK know the name Avinatan Orr?
I do.
His mother is British. How many know Ilan Weiss? His cousin lives in Sussex. Guy Gilboa Dalal, Alon Ohel, Yossi Sharabi, brother of Eli, whose brother-in-law Steve reminds us of their humanity. They are us. We are them. We fight for the living. We fight to bury the dead in Eretz Israel with dignity. We fight to make their names known, to not abandon them in Gazan hell tunnels. For my family's part, we are spearheading a class action lawsuit against Meta, the parent company of Facebook, for allowing Hamas to live stream their crimes for hours, boosting their signal to millions, inspiring more terrorists. They must not evade responsibility. Every day that passes is a fresh sentence, not just for the hostages, but for their families, children without bedtime hugs, partners with no shoulders to cry on, parents with no answers. Still, we march, we protest, we speak, we scream. Because the hostages can't. Because we owe it to the living and we owe it to the dead. Not next month, not next week, now, until the last hostage. Until. Thank you very much. Am Yisrael Chai.
Thank you, Adam. It is my great honor to introduce Noor Dari. Noor Dari is the founder and executive director of Islamic Theology of Counter-Terrorism.
Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace and blessings be upon you. What a great honor to speak to people with such a great courage and resilience. You survived for 1,000 years. You still survive. You will survive on the day of judgment. Don't be disappointed when you see hundreds and thousands Muslims don't support you, but support Islamist terrorism. But be proudful that Islam supports you. Islam supports your existence in the Holy Land. Islam supports your right to defend your nation. Islam supports your fight against devil. History will remember you as a people who is still against 100,000 Islamists in the street of London. But let me tell you one thing. We will not surrender to Islamists. No. I was a part of Islamism. I know how devil ideology is. We don't have any political ideology here. We just want Israeli children back. Let me send a strong message to our Prime Minister. Mr. Prime Minister, you can't please Hamas. You can't surrender to terrorists. Look, Hamas praise you. Your decision, political decision. We don't support you. You cannot surrender terrorists. Your political ancestors never surrendered to Nazis back in days. You can't surrender to today's Nazis, which is Hamas, Islamists. We want Israeli children back home, alive. Until that, we will never sleep in peace. Thank you very much. I'm Israel Chai.
עם ישראל חי, אם לא נשכח תמיד להיות מאוחדים. עם ישראל בעליות בירידות ובשעות הכי קשות, הקדוש ברוך הוא שומר עלינו, אז מי יכול עלינו? כי אין לנו עוד מדינה. תעשה שלום בינינו, שמור על ילדינו, כי לא עבדה אמונה. עם ישראל חי. עם ישראל חי. אם לא נשכח תמיד להיות מאוחדים. לציר. להיות בירידות ובשעות הכי קשות, הקדוש ברוך הוא שומר עלינו, אז מי יכול עלינו? כי אין לנו עוד מדינה. תעשה שלום בינינו, שמור על ילדינו, כי לא עבדה האמונה.
It is my honor to introduce Claudia Mendoza, Chief Executive Officer of the Jewish Leadership Council. Today marks 674 days since October the 7th. 674 days since hundreds were murdered and 250 men, women and children were taken hostage. It has been as long since the Jewish people have felt at peace. Something changed for each and every one of us on that day. As I speak, 50 people are still being held hostage in horrific conditions, and it's believed that over half of them are dead. Their plight is etched in each of our hearts and souls, and we will not rest until each and every one of them is home. This is why the government's plan to recognize a Palestinian state, regardless of whether Hamas releases the hostages, has triggered so much anger. The conditions that have been placed on Israel actively discourages peace. Hamas has no incentive to agree to a ceasefire or release any hostages while this one-sided ultimatum remains in place. Hamas simply needs to keep refusing the ceasefire proposals, and their reward? Recognition. But you don't need to take my word for it. Hamas has welcomed this move, calling it one of the fruits of October the 7th. Let me be clear. This is nothing short of a betrayal of the remaining hostages, including Avi Natan Or, whose mother is a British citizen, and Eviatar David, who was filmed digging his own grave in a sickening Hamas propaganda video. Both men were abducted from the Nova Music Festival. We know the situation in Gaza is extremely complex and dangerous for both residents and hostages, and we share the government's hope that the suffering on all sides of this conflict will end soon. But the Prime Minister's decision to recognise a Palestinian state emboldens Hamas and the extremist elements of British society who celebrate, justify and belittle the atrocities of October the 7th. All of us know that these extremists will never be satisfied and will continue to push the government to take increasingly radical action against Israel, to the detriment of peace. They will be happy only when Israel ceases to exist, and we should not be bending to their demands. This decision was a U-turn. Labour's 2024 election manifesto promised only to recognise a Palestinian state as a contribution to a two-state solution. The government's vital support for our community security is enormously appreciated. It's what allows us to go about our daily lives as Jews. But we must see more effort to understand and address why anti-Semites are emboldened in modern Britain. Until then, none of us, not just Jews, will ever truly be safe. Today, as we gather here outside Downing Street, let's be clear about the message we wish to deliver. Prime Minister, please do not give credence to violent extremism, abroad or at home. Please do everything in your power to secure the safe return of every hostage. Time is running out. We must and we will continue to fight for them. Bring them home now.
It is a real honor to introduce an incredible friend and ally. Pastor Bo Ace, part of CAAA, missionary to Kenya and Christian leader in the UK for over 30 years. She's also from the Naupoli tribe of Northland of New Zealand. Bo.
everything about hiding hostages in underground labyrinths, torturing and dehumanizing them with wicked indifference and glee, should have tipped the world to the villain of the piece. But to the shame of many, it has not. And this is reprehensible. To suggest that terrorists should be rewarded with statehood is as disgraceful as it is shameful. To the hostages and to their families, I want to say, you are not alone! Your pain matters to us. Hostage families, your loved ones are important, as is the well-being and healing of those hostages already released, and the ongoing need for proper and humane care for those still held in captive. We validate your need to have your loved ones returned. We call out every bit of filthy rhetoric that would justify the taking and ransom of civilians. We have wept at the brutality hostages have endured and still suffer. We rail at the cruelty of their captivity and the depravity of their captors. Jews, Israel, hostages, and hostage families, we stand with you. We stand with you to see the return and the release of every captive. We have hostage postages in our church. We will not look away. We will not ignore. We will not be indifferent. And we will not be silent. I and others I know write the name of a hostage on our hand to remind us to pray for them and their families every day. I'm not virtue signalling to you, but I know that the concrete tunnels of Gaza and the ancient sands of that land cannot keep the power of Hashem from bringing your people home. Zid Beerman, I'll pray for you and I'll pray for your families every day until you're released or returned to the last man. It seems the least we can do. We are with you together in this. When the 28th Maori Battalion marched onto the battlefields of World War II, they encouraged one another with this saying, Kia kaha, stay strong. Kia maya, be brave. Kia manawanui, stay steadfast. And I say this to the hostages and their families. Kia kaha ekare, be strong, beloved friends. You are not alone. Kia maya ekare, be brave, dear friends. You are not forgotten. Kia manawanui ekare. Release is coming. Stay hopeful. Stay steadfast. Strong, brave, and steadfast. Am Israel high. The people of Israel live.
I'm honored to introduce Rabbi Charlie Beginski and Rabbi Josh Levy, co-leaders of the Unified Progressive Judaism Movement.
On October the 7th, 2023, Hamas unleashed horror on Israel and on all the Jews in the world. They murdered, burned and kidnapped, shattering lives and shattering peace. The responsibility for this war and for the agony it has brought lies with them. And still today they hold 50 hostages, living and dead. These are not statistics. They are mothers and fathers, children and grandparents. They have names, faces, birthdays missed, embraces delayed, and tragically funerals delayed too. They must come home. There is no higher priority for us. And this is why we stand here as one united Jewish community today. With all of our difference that we hold between us, we demand together that the hostages are brought home. This is an issue that belongs to all of us, and we stand in solidarity against Hamas and all who wish to destroy Jews and the Jewish state.
Last night, tens of thousands of Israeli Jews gathered on the streets to protest for the release of the hostages. They protested against Hamas. They protested against policies and rhetoric that doesn't allow the hostages to come home. And we must be brave and honest enough to do so. Rhetoric like this does lasting damage to Israel. With those protesting in Tel Aviv, in Jerusalem, and across Israel, we call for an end to this war through a deal that brings the hostages home and the permanent restoration of humanitarian aid to Gaza.
Let us be clear about Palestinian statehood. The Palestinian people, like us, have the right to self-determination. But how it is done matters too. We reject a methodology that tries to force this future through violence, terror, and the suffering of civilians. Statehood cannot be built on the blood of innocents, and peace will never grow from the soil of pain and hatred.
We say this because we affirm our common humanity. We mourn for those who were murdered on October the 7th, for the soldiers who have fallen, for innocent civilians whose lives have been lost. Every life
you should be ashamed of yourself! You should be ashamed!
It is my honour to invite Lord Pollack, President of the Conservative Friends of Israel, to speak.
Well, that was interesting. Despite the noise, we know that Israel wants one thing more than anything: to live in peace with dignity. Today is about dignity and the ultimate human right to live in dignity. All people deserve that right. And today we've come to call for that dignity to be extended to all peoples of the region. It is well known that Hamas denied that dignity to the Palestinian people in Gaza. And you don't have to take my word for it. Listen to the words of the Arab League. They signed a declaration a couple of weeks ago condemning Hamas's onslaught, calling on Hamas to release the hostages and disarm and end its rule of Gaza. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to support the Arab League in this statement. We should all take some comfort that it is clearly understood that Hamas and Hamas alone is responsible for the untold suffering in Gaza. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are here today to remind the world and the occupiers of 10 Downing Street that the untold suffering in Gaza is the 49 precious souls languishing, chained, and as we have seen, starved by Hamas. Now, whilst many in the United Nations and across the West and in the media seem to forget, we will never forget. We will call for their freedom all day and every day until they are home. And we say to the Prime Minister and the government, not just that they should call for their freedom, insist on their freedom. Sadly, in our topsy-turvy world, Western governments, other than the honourable exception of the United States of America, spend more time and more energy condemning Israel than urging those holding the hostages to set them free and end this war. But ladies and gentlemen, it is the words of the family members that are so important. And to conclude, I want to share the words of the courageous Ditsa Or, mother of Avinatan, who, like others, is spending his 674th day in the depths of Gaza. I told her about the rally, and I asked her what she would like me to say in her name. And I end with her words. She said this, listen carefully over there. She said, recognition of a Palestinian state is a reward for the murder gang known as Hamas. She went on to say, such a move significantly strengthens them. And immediately following this, Hamas announced it would only release the hostages after a Palestinian state is established with Jerusalem as its capital. Thus, she said, the recognition of a Palestinian state by European countries greatly distances the chances of my Avinatan being free and seeing the light of day. And ladies and gentlemen, she ended, shame on the British government for their hypocrisy.
Final words from Natasha House, barrister and legal director of the UK Lawyers for Israel Charitable Trust.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It means so much to see so many of you here, from the community and from our allies. Friends, we are coming together in troubled times to send a singular message to the government of this country and to the Prime Minister that they are actively harming the chances of us being able to bring the hostages home. The shameful rhetoric that has encouraged this action, some of which was heard unfortunately earlier on, but you, ladies and gentlemen, told them exactly what you think of them. Use that energy, that power. Tell them
And let's listen to Hamas when they thank members of the international community for recognizing a so-called Palestinian state. This government that pretends to prize international law, look how readily it threw out of the window the Montevideo Convention, customary international law, to be able to pursue its agenda against the only Jewish state. Shame on them. But with your voices ringing out as they are today, 674 days after Hamas committed this brutal atrocities of the 7th of October, 674 days those hostages have remained in Hamas captivity. When we say, let them go to Hamas, that is the message that this government and every government around the world that believes in human rights, justice, and wishes to combat internationally prescribed terrorist organizations, that is the message that they need to be shouting from the rooftops in words and in deed. So let them hear it. Let them go. 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 And each and every one of you, in addition to coming here today, has the power to convey that message and letters to your members of parliament, in contributions to the media, in conversations around the dinner table. Don't let Hamas get away with these victories through propaganda warfare and spreading blood libels against the Jewish state. Even if some members of the community have started to believe them, let them know how wrong they are. I was very privileged for Yom HaZikaron to be in Israel and to attend the service on Ammunition Hill. A learned rabbi indicated that while the Jewish people may be the smallest nation in the world, they are the largest family. Never was that more strongly felt than on the 7th of October and the 674 days subsequently, when our family members have been kept in brutal Hamas captivity and tortured by their captors. So in the words of Moses to Pharaoh, Shalach et ami, let my people go.
Thank you, Natasha. My name is Chaya Langerman, and I volunteer with the Hostages and Missing Families Forum here in the UK. As we prepare to conclude this vigil, I want to leave you with one clear message. This cannot end here. Today, we stood together to honor the strength of our hostages, to support their families, and to demand their immediate and unconditional release. We've heard the names and stories, and we felt the urgency. Now we must turn that urgency into action. Each of us has a role to play. Speak out, keep the pressure on, share the stories, talk to your leaders, don't wait for others to act. Do what you can. Eli Sharabi wrote in his book, Kidnapped, when you are held captive, every moment is a fight for life. Every breath is a small victory. Freedom is not a luxury. It is a fundamental human right. Even when the world looks away, we must remember and keep fighting, because only through remembrance and action can we bring them home. And to the hostages' families, we promise you this: we will not stop standing up, speaking out, and fighting with everything we have until every one of them is home. This vigil may be her ending, but our commitment will carry on. Stay loud, stay present, and stay committed. Let them go and bring them home. Finally, we can't finish it today without thanking some important people. Firstly, thanks to all of you who showed up here today and made today possible. To all our speakers for your powerful words, to CSTN Police for keeping us safe, to Yuval Chafkin for your beautiful music, to our stewards, photographers, volunteers, we are deeply grateful. To Stop the Hate, the Hostage Forum, and all our partner organizations, thank you for standing together in this urgent call for freedom. May we continue united until they are home. And now please join me all for Atikva.
Thank you all for coming. I'm Israel Chai.